Welcome back, everyone, to the Gridiron Grind with Andrew and Lance. Today, we have another really special guest. We have our friend Steven. Steven, introduce yourself for us, sir. Let us know a little bit about yourself and what team you root for and how you know us.
Sure. Yeah, great to be here. Happy to be on. I got to know you two through another friend, Logan, and he invited me to the fantasy football league that we're all in. So I don't know how long we've been doing, or I've been in it, maybe 4 years now, 3 or 4 years now. But I've I've been a Green Bay Packers fan for a very, very long time. Um, Growing up, I had my Nintendo 64 and I was playing NFL Blitz, and I could
Mm.
realize that I could play the Green Bay Packers and play with Brett Favre, and he could get me 30 yards in the quarterback sneak every play. So I loved Brett Favre. Then I just ended up watching games and just loving watching the Packers probably kind of in the early 2000s, really. And then, and here I am. I still cheer for the team, even after all the quarterback controversies that they've had. It's real hard going from Hall of Fame quarterback to Hall of Fame quarterback, and of course another one, Jordan Love. So
Yeah, the Green Bay Packers have had the worst luck with the quarterbacks the past
yeah,
30 years,
terrible,
haven't they?
terrible.
And who you got on your jersey right now?
It's my Rodgers jersey.
Nice.
Can't really see it, but got
There
my
it is,
yeah,
number
got my
12.
got my
Hmm.
number 12. Yeah. He was my favorite quarterback. I mean, Brett Favre, but this is the Rodgers was the quarterback when I got the jersey, so
Hmm.
had to get it. He was great, fun to watch. So
Yeah, crazy talent. Crazy talent. Did you ever have him in any fantasy leagues?
I always picked him. He was always my fancy quarterback. It screwed me over a couple of years, especially his last couple of years with the Packers. But yeah, I usually always try to pick him up. But the
Hmm.
last couple of years, I'm glad that I didn't pick him because he ended up not being good, or only playing 4 plays. So, um, so glad I didn't pick him.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm sure there were some years when he gave you a lot of
Yeah,
fantasy goodness.
I think I had him for both of his MVP years, the
That's
last two
good.
MVP years that he had. So he did pretty good for me. I think the rest of the team let me down though. So, if that's any consolation.
Well, anything can help my feelings a little bit better because you ended up defeating me in the championship in our league we have together, or what is it, like 17 teams deep or something insane?
Almost too many.
Yeah, but you took me down. Congratulations, sir. Next year, I'm coming for you.
I was actually legitimately surprised that I got that far. And I'm not doing this as a humble brag. I was basically middle of the road team all year because my team was not performing the way it should. And then right as playoffs started, those last couple weeks is when my team started playing the way it should have been. Um, so all year, I was so disappointed, and then all of a sudden they started doing well, and that that's really why when I finally beat Lance, I always lose to Lance in the playoffs. I think I've lost to you every year in the playoffs. Uh, it's kind of unfortunate, but this third time's the charm, I guess. So
You just had to rub that in, Steven. You just
yeah,
had to take a moment
it's
to
That
okay.
was that was his hurdle. You were his Patrick Mahomes to his Josh
Yeah,
Allen.
Josh Allen. Yeah, that's
And
gonna
what I
happen.
always say with fantasy football is all you gotta do is make the playoffs and anything can happen.
Yes.
It
Yep.
happens all the time. Any team can get hot. You just gotta get in.
Yeah. Or
yeah.
you get those really unfortunate. Your team doesn't do anything.
Yes.
Obviously, the worst is when the teams that your players are on do really well, and then they start resting everybody in the last couple of years,
Hmm.
or okay, last couple of weeks, I should say, and then they
Hmm.
don't play, and then you lose because of that. Had that happen a
And then
couple
I
of
hate it. And then I hate it whenever you're going against someone whose player scores like 60 fantasy points. You're like, well, this was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, I had that happen against Logan actually, where I was up by 50 points, I think, going into a Monday
Mhm.
night football game. And it was whatever random running back that he had ended up scoring 55 points, and I lost.
Oh, that's
And
the
I was
worst.
undefeated at the point. I think I was 7-0 or something, and he had not won, and
Oh,
I was a little upset about that, if I'm being honest.
I feel your pain. I don't think it was this year, but I think it was last year when we were in the playoffs in this league that we're talking about right now. And my team was really good, really deep, but I went up against the guy that like had Jamar Chase score like 55 or 58 points in the
Oh,
playoffs. And I was like, well, I'm out first round. Thanks, Jamar Chase.
yeah, it sucks. It sucks
It
bad.
it really is hard because, like, in fantasy football, you could be having the greatest season, but if your team
Mhm.
just putter, patters and flounders in the playoffs, it's over.
Yep.
It's over. There's no redemption.
So I got lucky this year when my team actually started playing well. So
Hmm. Yep. And I've yet to win Lance's league, and that's a goal of mine. I've won every single league I've been in that other than Lance's. It's my kryptonite.
yeah, this is actually my first time being in a like a recurring league where we
Hmm.
keep some structure throughout the years. I always just end up joining about four or five random like ESPN drafts with 12 random people, and
Hmm.
yeah, it doesn't matter. Those ones don't matter,
It's still fun
Yeah.
though.
but it is fun. I enjoy it.
I'm just still heartbroken, over the fact that Steven just, you know, beat me in the semifinals. I was so close.
You know, it's okay. You beat me every other year, so I'm allowed at least one win. So when it matters anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it was, it was a good season. It was a good season. But I do have to say, Steven, I think it's ironic. I'm an Eagles fan, you're a Packers
Yes.
fan, and like this rivalry has developed in the fantasy football world. And our teams are also seem to be on a collision course for a pretty intense rivalry over the next few years.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how much they've been playing actually recently.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty crazy. Um, I mean, I have two times last year, and then you had did they play the year before that? I don't think they did, but they played in 22 back when we
Yeah,
went to the Super Bowl the last
Hmm.
time. I remember that Sunday night football game. That's where Jordan Love, I think, kind of like showed the real flash of what he could
yeah,
potentially
I
be as
believe
a
so. Yeah,
quarterback.
that sounds right.
So, yeah, I mean, it's just crazy.
Mhm.
Hopefully, hopefully I can get some revenge next year, and your team doesn't get revenge. That's the way it should work.
Yeah, of course, of course. Maybe we'll play three times again.
I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean,
Yeah,
we're going to see each other for Monday Night Football in like week 10. So,
true. I was just looking at the schedule here. Yeah,
so
Monday Night Football, November
Monday
10th.
night.
And Lance and I have been talking about it. That's the game where Philadelphia has got to run the tush push every single play.
I would not be shocked.
do you guys, this is a random question. Do you know if Madden has the tush push on it?
Does it?
Ooh, I don't know. I haven't ever
Oh,
really looked. That's a good question.
I did not know that.
Because
Or
if it
yeah.
did, I really want to play the game just one time and then put a video together to send to Steven of me running the tush push literally 30 times down
Every
the field.
single play.
It would be kind of sad if the Packers ended up winning that game, though.
Oh man, that's funny.
That'd be great. I mean, I have to imagine they put it in if they put in the Saquon Barkley, backwards hurdle
Mm.
after 1 week. They put that into the game.
It looks like it's not on there.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, it says it should be on there. Oh man. I mean, you got to put the tush
They're
push
missing
on there.
out. They're
We can we
missing
can
out.
we can send a strongly worded letter to EA, and
Hmm.
maybe they can
We just need ESPN 2K to come back.
yes, and then they'll put it
Yes.
in. That'll be their like highlight feature is the tush push.
When you talked about, by the way, Stephen, about NFL Blitz, that totally brought flashbacks to me playing
Sure.
ESPN 2K. I think
Hmm.
was it 2K4? I think that's what it was with the Terrell Owens version of the Terrell Owens on the cover. that was the game I remember playing as a kid
Hmm.
because um you had like a house that you had and you could like make
Yep.
it look nice and
Oh
collect all these
yeah, I
different
remember.
trophies.
I don't know if ever played the 2K games, but I know one of the old Madden ones had that as well. Like you could customize your character off of, or your my player as you
Mhm.
play through the years and whatever. Yeah, they need to bring
Yeah,
that stuff back.
I know, man. That's
Gives me
that's
more
too
incentive
bad.
to
But
actually buy Madden every year. But
well, I'm telling you, if the tush push was on there, I would run it at least 50 times against the Packers.
sure,
Send you a video, feel better about myself.
I'll look
You'd
for
have like a 45-minute clock. You'd have
it.
the ball for 45 minutes in that game.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I mean, I don't see a
Hmm.
problem with that at all. That
Hmm.
sounds totally fair to me. So, well, I mean, we're already kind of jumping down the rabbit hole. Should we cover this topic first? Should we just get it out of the way?
Sure, when I get that out of here.
So, Stephen, we all know that
Mhm.
your Packers took the lead on the tush push discourse. It sounds like they were bullied or pushed or whatever we want to call it into it by the league. At least that's what's being reported by
Oh,
some
really?
people. But just wanted to know, as a Packers fan, what your thoughts were about the whole process of
Sure.
that, of your team taking the lead.
It's always funny. I think this is the second or third time that they've tried to ban it. I could be wrong though. I think they've tried to get rid of something like it before. I don't know why. I think the funniest thing is that the Packers are one of the best teams at actually stopping the tush push. And yet, there's the famous picture of Jalen Hurts just about to do it, and they were stopped on that play. So I have no idea why they want to ban it. I don't think it's worthy of being banned, if I'm being honest. But I mean, it's like trying to ban a quarterback sneak, just a better quarterback sneak. Nobody wanted to
Mm-hmm.
ban Tom Brady from doing the quarterback sneak. Maybe they wanted to ban Tom Brady, but you know, I don't think they wanted to ban the sneak. So I don't know. I'm shocked and that they would do that. I mean, I've seen compilations of all the plays that would have been illegal if the ban went through. Lots of the famous like Adrian Peterson plays and all sorts of famous historical plays that would have been banned because because what didn't they revise it after the initial ban or the initial uh
Yeah, I think that it was something to the effect of, you know, trying to say that uh, you can't assist the runner by pushing
yeah,
forward.
Yeah, no, or pulling, no pushing or
right.
pulling. Hmm.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think just basically,
I guess for a safety's sake, I guess I get it, but I out
Yeah,
of
and
all
I
these
think the
other
thing is
things,
they didn't really have data that showed that there was higher injury risk from what I heard. They were trying to say there was higher injury, which there might be, but there wasn't any actual data yet.
mm, yeah, I don't know. I think if you can run it, go for it. But it also might be a kind of one of a like a wildcat situation where it's a big thing for a couple of years and then everybody just learns how to stop it, so then you just can't do it anymore. I mean, I wonder
Hmm.
how effective the Eagles will be at running it now that Kelsey's retired, because I know he was a big catalyst for it, and he was one of the ones that prevented it from being banned. So
Yeah, he showed up to the meetings in Minnesota. But it also helps out when your quarterback could squat like 8 million pounds.
it's true. It's true. And Saquon, yeah, just put Saquon Barkley as the quarterback for that play. He could probably
Yeah,
squat 16 million pounds.
probably.
So,
I mean, yeah, it is impressive what those guys can lift. I mean, it is insane. They are not scrawny people.
yeah.
Um,
No.
so yeah, it's
What you really need to stop the tush push is bring back Vince Wilfork, put some 400-pound guy right as the nose tackle, and it'll never work. That's how you stop the tush push, is you just put a big cinder block of
Well,
a man there and
there was. a guy drafted this year from Florida. I forgot his name, but he was a D tackle that was like 400 something pounds.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Cam Jackson, maybe?
Something
But
like that.
yeah,
What if he
yeah,
drafted? I forget who he was drafted by, but
I'm not sure. He was either undrafted or a very late round pick,
yeah,
but he is on a team right now. He's on a
yeah,
90 man. I just don't know who it is.
huge guys. It's amazing. And then they end up running like a
Yeah.
4.5 40 somehow.
Insane. People can do some insane things.
It was crazy.
I could probably run like a 5.4 40.
Yeah, we're like Rich Eisen every year when he does
Right?
the
Rich
combine.
Eisen. I mean, it is crazy how it's become a signature thing to watch,
Yeah,
a
Hmm.
bigger guy run the 40, look absolutely ridiculous running against offensive linemen the same size as him, but be like, almost twice as slow.
yeah,
Um, it's crazy. Yeah, that guy, what a dude. It's awesome that he does it for such, a worthy charitable cause. But
Right. Right.
man, to be publicly humiliated for like a month every year, to be reminded of, oh, hey, this is how slow you are. It's crazy.
he needs to do like what Tom Brady did when people were making fun of how slow he runs. And Tom Brady used to put on Instagram videos that he would edit together of him running, and it was really slow, but he put like a Jaguar and an F1 car and whatever drive like faded up in and out of the background of him running some really slow 40. Rich
And
Eisen
then it
just needs
just
to do
shows
it.
off his Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's okay. At least the Eagles saved us from what an eighth Super Bowl ring.
Uh,
We can give the Eagles credit for that. Oh, and I guess preventing the evil empire of Kansas City from winning another Super Bowl too. I guess that's okay. I can give the Eagles credit for that.
hey,
Wish it
we're
was the
we're just
Packers, but
here. We're just here to do the everyday average man or everyday average NFL fans work. You
sure.
know, we break up one dynasty, we break up another dynasty. Um, have you guys heard about that Kansas City Chiefs documentary that's coming out?
I have not.
It's coming out from ESPN. I can't remember what it's called. Oh, I just want to see if I can. It's not the Last Dance. That's the ESPN. It's the. I'm trying to see if I can find that name for it. But it's being released by ESPN. But it's the same people.
Yeah, that's the Michael Jordan one.
Yeah, it's the same people as
I was
them.
like,
But the
oh, really?
the part that I'm excited about it is that I'm a big Utah Jazz fan, and so I can't watch the end of The Last Dance. I can't do it. I know how it ends. I know my team loses. They're going to break
Uh-huh.
my heart. But let me tell you, when this Kansas City Chiefs documentary comes out and they play the Eagles, it gets smashed. That is going to be my favorite episode. I will watch that on repeat. Uh, so this is
Hmm.
going to be one of the best documentaries that's been ever produced because it's going to end the way that I wanted it to instead of The Last Dance, which ends
Of
in
course.
my beloved Utah Jazz getting their hearts ripped out by Michael Jordan. So
Hmm.
Well, you watch the Michael Jordan one first, and then you watch the Eagles one, or the Kansas City Chiefs one. You
Hmm.
can get this the highs and the lows. So, you,
yeah, I mean I cannot believe I can't find the name of that documentary, but I will find it eventually. But yeah, it's coming out, and I can't wait. I will absolutely watch it just so I can watch my Eagles beat the Kansas City Chiefs and smile. I'll have a
I think
huge
that's
smile.
what I think. A lot of people put that on repeat.
Um, the the part that I'm just so surprised about is I still can't get over how much people did not give him credit. Like going into the game, how many people were like, no, they just can't win. There's no chance. There's no way. Like it's fine if you want to pick it like, a half and half game, but it was still crazy how many people are like, no, they have no shot.
Hmm.
So I think that just um
Well,
this
it didn't help with all the devil magic that Kansas City had all year with the crazy ways that they ended up winning,
Right.
blocking field goals, random things here and there. And of course, this is by far Patrick Mahomes' worst year. So, and yet they kept winning. Um,
Hmm.
I know going to the Super Bowl, I was hoping that both teams lost, but I was hoping for the Eagles to certainly to beat the Chiefs. And I thought that the Eagles were going to win simply because I just didn't think the Chiefs were actually that good this year.
Hmm.
That they probably shouldn't have been there. That either Buffalo or Baltimore probably should have been in it, but you know, for some reason they just can't get past Mahomes' devil magic, and it's okay.
Yeah.
The Eagles broke the spell apparently, so
Yeah, we'll see.
I
We'll see this year.
That reminded me of that meme that you shared, Steven. I gotta share that real quick because that was pretty funny. Um, Let me see if I can pull it out for us. But that meteor strike one,
I mean, I think I sent a lot of great games. Oh,
yeah, that was just straight up cruel, but accurate. I think that most people felt that way.
yeah, yeah.
Although, I mean, come on, guys, like we
Pretty
needed like a nice
much.
big green, we needed a nice big green dot right here for my Eagles. I mean, come on. So got at least a few fans down here in Oklahoma. Like, come on, let's get a little green
Hmm.
down there too. Like, let's not discriminate. I mean, the Kansas City one, that's
Well, I don't
that's
know.
100% accurate. I think it's only the state of, well, I guess maybe a little bit of
Yes.
Kansas. That one's a little bit off. You got to put Kansas in there too. I mean, Kansas City is literally a border city between Kansas City or between
Hmm.
Missouri and Kansas,
Yeah.
but that's fine. We're not doing, U.S. geography lessons
I
here.
I have to imagine that near Dallas is going to be a little red circle as well. But
Fair,
You
fair.
I don't know though. I don't know how much they if they actually like the Eagle or the Chiefs either. But
Well, they probably hate the Eagles, so.
oh yes, yeah. But the Chiefs though,
well, the interesting part is I'd say that it was a split. I talked to my Chiefs friends or Cowboys friends. I had a lot of people that were rooting for the Eagles just because of the fact that
Mm.
they just were that tired of the Chiefs dynasty. So
I
I
mean
think it would have been
that's
more
why I was
split
cheering.
than we think it would be. Weird. I mean, I would agree with you. If the Cowboys were in the Super Bowl, I'm not going to root for the Cowboys, but
Well, it doesn't
yeah,
matter. They're not going to make the Super Bowl anytime soon anyway. So
I was
it's
just about to say that.
we had a lot of conversations with um, my friend Brickhouse last week about this. Lots of good laughs.
Hmm.
Um, but no
Hmm.
worry, he ended it in a similar "This is our year" chant. So it's nice to know that he's still just as realistic as ever before.
it's all the other Cowboys fans. Once they get
And I
past the
think,
Packers, then we can talk.
and I think he still had them losing first round of the playoffs.
Oh, well, he's the most realistic Cowboys fan.
How um, how did that go watching the Packers annihilate the Cowboys in the playoffs? Oh, did it come through? Did you hear my question, Stephen?
Sorry, you you cut out there. What was your?
Oh, I was asking how did it feel? How did it feel to beat the Cowboys that playoffs?
Oh, that last year, the
Two
2 years
two
ago,
years ago
not this
now, I
playoffs, but the
guess.
one before,
Yeah,
it was
Mm.
amazing.
yeah.
That was awesome. I couldn't have felt any happier because I hate the Cowboys, so I did not feel bad whatsoever. Um, you know, I it goes back to Aaron Rodgers. Like Rodgers owns the Bears, but he owned the Cowboys, and that was the greatest things ever. Part of the reason why I have this jersey is because of some of like his throw to I believe Jermichael Finley on the sideline when Rodgers was rolling left with 30 seconds left, and he threw that dart on the
Mm.
sideline pass to set up Mason Crosby for the game-winning field goal. That was one of the greatest throws I think I've ever seen. But for Jordan Love to come in and basically do the same thing and completely obliterate the Cowboys was amazing. It brought it brought a tear to my eye. Tears of joy. So,
Well, actually, I think that this brings me to like, maybe more of like looking at the Packers
mhm,
in total. A lot of there's a lot of, you look at Jordan Love. I think there's some people out in the firm like, oh, he's the future, he's our guy, like we believe in him. It's like, where do you stand on the Jordan Love
sure.
controversy? Are you fully behind him? Do you think he is the, third straight Hall of Fame quarterback coming up? Like, where would you put him right now in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help that I'm kind of wearing rose-tinted glasses and coming off of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. Um, I think Jordan Love can be really good. I mean, you get those games where he looks really, really good. When you get Toyota-thon, Jordan Love, he's pretty much undefeated. I don't know if either of you have heard that or heard the stats behind that. When Toyota-thon is on in December, he's undefeated. He's like 8-0 during that time. The most random stat, but other times he just makes really weird decisions and it ends up
Mm,
costing the Packers. I don't know. I think he's a good quarterback. I'm certainly not on the Hall of Fame bandwagon with him. I wish he was. That would be amazing. I mean, the odds of getting three straight Hall of Fame quarterbacks, but I'm assuming what he'll be is a good franchise quarterback that will be solid for a number of years. But as long as they win a Super Bowl with him, I'm okay. Even if it's only one, I can deal with that. But I think he's good, but not great. And I think a lot of Packers fans have tempered their expectations with him after realizing he's not Aaron Rodgers. I mean, when you look at Rodgers' stats, they're just absolutely absurd. When you look at the 4-1 touchdown interception ratio, until he went to the Jets, then he kind of sucked with the Jets. But everybody sucks with the Jets, so it doesn't matter. But when Jordan Love is putting up really good numbers, but they're nothing really that special. Now they just need to win more consistently. I think that's what kind of brings the Packers down a bit, is that they win games that they probably shouldn't win, but then they lose games that they should win with Jordan Love. But
So, and I'm not trying to throw Andrew into the bus here, but a comment that Andrew has made in the past is that
sure.
he says that the Packers are good at beating the bad teams, but bad at beating the good teams. Is that how you see it?
I could see that. I mean, it's nice that they get to beat up on the Bears every year. That's always a plus.
They are
They
they are
are,
coming though. They are coming. They're
I
making a lot of
know,
good
and
moves.
and now they have the Pope on their side, so they have some
That
divine
is
intervention
true.
to make that.
That is true.
They're off-season champions this year with the Pope. So, um, but yeah, I mean I could see that. I don't remember the stats, but I think the Packers seem to, at least since Jordan Love got in there, that it seems to. I think that's the trend, is that they often don't they play the good teams well, but they don't end up
Mhm.
winning. But they do beat the worst teams than them. So I think that's probably where the Packers are, kind of right in the middle, like
Mhm.
upper tier of the middle group, but not quite over the hump. So I agree with you on that.
Yeah,
If
I
I'm
told
being
Lance all the
realistic.
time that last year the Packers, I think you guys won 11 games, but I think all your losses came from three teams, the
Oh yeah,
Lions, Eagles,
well,
and Vikings.
yeah,
And
exactly.
the top of the NFC, which a lot of teams lose to those teams, but those are the ones that the Packers just couldn't get over.
Yeah.
Got close, but just couldn't make enough plays.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think that's a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
To basically only be losing to the top teams,
Hmm.
So I don't know how they would fare against, if they were to go against the Bills or the Ravens. Well, I guess we'll see that this year.
Yeah,
The
this year the
Ravens,
NFC North has a gauntlet.
but yeah, I was sad, especially losing to the Vikings. Lions, I'm okay with. I don't think you can be super mad at the Lions because they've been so sad for the last however long that they've existed. So
Hmm.
for the Packers to lose, that's fine. But it's too bad that it was against the Vikings because I didn't even think the Vikings were that good the last year.
They had a 6.5 win total last year, and they ended up winning 14 games. If anyone put any bet on that, they won a lot of money.
Even if I was a gambling man, I still wouldn't bet on the Vikings. So
Pulling no punches back. I love this.
yeah,
There's a
no,
little
I
bit of
know.
rivalry juice here.
I mean, I
But
can
hey,
and I just make fun of the Bears. It's fine.
I was going to say the one thing you guys can always agree on is you can just hit on the Bears together.
Yep.
Um,
No,
Hmm.
so
And the
I'm glad
Lions are
that
going to take a step back.
I think so too.
I'm glad though you brought up Steven this whole Vikings Packers thing because one thing I thought about, the question I don't get to ask a lot to people, but Brett Favre, I mean, does he hold a special place in Vikings and Packers history? Is it because he went to the Vikings? Do Packers fans not like him as much? Do they resent him? Vikings fans because he didn't finish it off? Like, where do you guys put Favre in your category?
Yeah, I mean, I love Favre. He's one of my favorite players of all time. I think that Packers fans, if I have the general consensus, which I probably don't, but I think I think most Packer fans still like him. I mean, I think they felt betrayed when he went to the Vikings. They certainly didn't hold any hard feelings, I think, when he went to the Jets. I know I was rooting for the Jets because Favre was on their team, but then it was sad that he went to the Vikings, and then it was awful to see him in the purple. But you, you know, I don't know what I couldn't say what Vikings fans think. I mean, their postseason record has also been kind of sad, so just kind of another another notch in the belt of sadness, playoff sadness for the Vikings too. So I don't know. I don't know what they think. I think Packers fans generally like Favre, maybe not the off the field stuff that he has been around him
Mm-hmm.
over the last few years, but I think as a player, I think he's still down as one of the most liked Packers players of all time. I know it's certainly why I got into football is because it was just so much fun watching him, seeing him play.
Hmm.
And I don't think you can take that away from Packers fans. It's just he was just a fun guy to watch, and he had a lot of fun playing. Um,
Hmm.
but it may have been maybe attitudes were a little tempered after the way he left, right? Because he kept doing that dance of I'm going to retire, I'm going to stay, I'm going to retire, I'm going to stay, and then eventually the Packers
Hmm.
said, "Okay, you're done," released him, and then he went to the Jets. So there might be a little bit of uh, a few people upset about that, but I think the general consensus that they like him, even if he went to Minnesota.
You're gonna add
Yes.
anything to that, Andrew? I don't know if we've ever dug into that before.
Yeah, yeah. So he only played for Minnesota about a year. Well, he played technically 2 seasons, but that second
Yeah.
season he didn't play
Hmm.
very long.
Mhm.
So we'll
Hmm.
just say 1 season. And that 1 season was a really good year, but Minnesota didn't win anything.
Mhm.
They lost an NFC Championship game. So 1 year of Brett Favre having a fun year, but not showing anything for it. I don't think Minnesota fans are really holding him high as a Minnesota guy,
Mhm.
especially since Brett Favre is the reason why Minnesota had so many losses for a long time.
Hmm.
So we enjoyed the time and didn't get anything out of it. So thank you for the fun year. That's pretty much how Minnesota fans see it.
And he
So
lost on a classic Brett Favre play
Exactly.
with
he sure
wasn't it a
did.
pick six or
When
at least an
when
interception?
Minnesota was in field goal range to I think either tie or win the game. I'm not sure which one it was, but they were in field goal range. And instead of just running for 3 yards and calling a timeout, he forced it into triple coverage. It gets intercepted. Typical Brett Favre.
Typical Brett Favre.
Hmm.
It's the reason why Michael Holmgren has no hair, is because of Brett Favre. So,
Hmm.
Yeah. Have you guys ever seen the America's Games uh, show?
I could
It
say you
was
have.
a it's a documentary. They look at every single team that's won the Super Bowl, but it's so funny when they break down when the Packers won the Super Bowl in the '90s against the Patriots because they show Mike Holmgren. And like Brett Favre will make a really dumb throw that ends in interception, and Mike will just be like, "That's it, that's it. Take him out, take him out. He's
Yeah.
done. That's it. He's done." And it's funny because like you'll like hear this interaction of him talking to someone else, and then like a couple seconds later, be like, "All right, wait a minute, no, let's not. We can't take him out. It's all right." Like it's just funny because you could tell like the hair is just falling out
Yeah.
on his
Hmm.
scalp as he's like talking about um like how frustrating it is with these Brett Favre interceptions that are just truly only Brett Favre, maybe Jordan Love esque, you
Well,
know?
and that's the funny thing, speaking of Jordan Love, is he's kind of the mix between the two.
I
Uh,
can see that.
he has that gunslinger mentality, but he
Hmm.
throws it like Rodgers.
I
Um,
can see that.
I
That's a very good
remember
descriptor.
that he plays more like Brett Favre in that you just wonder who he's throwing to, but he doesn't have the arm strength of Brett Favre. But he does have the throwing mechanics of Rodgers.
Hmm.
I remember
Hmm.
seeing, because I don't know if you guys ever saw or have seen those breakdowns of how Aaron Rodgers would throw the ball, but he never plants his front foot. He's almost always throwing off his back foot. And it's because he was
Hmm.
taught by Favre to not do that because that's how you twist your ankle. If you get hit awkwardly,
Interesting.
it twists your ankle. So if you always see Rodgers throwing the ball, he's always almost always on his like tippy toes and throwing that way. It's really interesting. And Jordan Love tries to copy that, but he doesn't have the arm strength to be a Brett Favre. And he doesn't quite have
Mm.
the decision making of Rodgers. So he kind of fits somewhere
Hmm.
in between the two. It's really interesting to see, especially after you get the tutelage from one guy to the
Right.
next. So yeah, it's really
That's a
interesting to
really good
see.
descriptor. That's spot on because I've watched not as much as you have, but I've watched a lot and I can see it. I can see
Mhm.
that perfectly.
So like if you're looking at Jordan Love's timeline, because I think his timeline's affected by the fact that he sat for so long behind Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
You know, we've gotten 2 years now. I think it's fair to say 2 seasons of Jordan Love. I don't think it's fair to count the other ones besides maybe behind learning.
Mhm.
But
Hmm.
how much more do you think he can grow? Like at what point do you
Mhm.
say this isn't working anymore, or maybe we need to change, or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard because he has the Aaron Rodgers trajectory as well. That Rodgers sat
Mm.
behind Favre for 3 years, and then
Hmm.
Jordan Love sat behind Rodgers for 3 years. So I know a lot of Packers fans had really high expectations, assuming that because he sat for 3 years behind Rodgers, that he would have the same effect that Rodgers did after Favre. Um, Honestly, I think that more quarterbacks should do this. Sit behind some starter for at least a year or two. I think
Hmm.
I think the Packers actually have a really good model on how to generally build a team or draft quarterbacks, even if we don't like it. I think I think Love has a high ceiling, or he could have a high ceiling. I think he has the talent,
Hmm.
um, but his decision making tends to keep him back. And his arm strength, right? But it's also hard to judge it. I know a lot of Packers fans have been saying that he's the worst quarterback ever because he's not doing Rodgers numbers now that he's starting. But when again looking back at Rodgers numbers, Rodgers is absolutely insane with his numbers. Like
Hmm.
some of those seasons, he's throwing 40 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. That is not the norm. What Jordan
Nope.
Love is doing is kind of the above average. He's throwing 30 touchdowns, but he'll throw 15 interceptions, right? No Jameis Winston numbers, but but the 30-30s here. But Love, I think that's kind of where he's at, and it's hard for Packers fans to come off the real high of having these amazing quarterbacks to a quarterback that is good but not amazing. Um, and yet he is still better than I would say a good chunk of the quarterbacks that are in the league, right? I think most, obviously not the Chiefs or the Bills type teams, but I think most teams would ha like to have a guy like Love. Um, but it's hard to say. I mean, for me, I think he's been underwhelming at times because there are a lot of games he should have won, but at, there are times that he flashes that brilliance, and it's amazing to watch it.
Hmm.
Just wish he was a little more consistent.
Yeah, inconsistency is the biggest thing with him, I think.
Mhm. Yeah.
So if you were like, I think this is hard to do, Steven. You haven't
Mhm.
had time to think about it, but where would you put him? Jordan Love. If you're looking at all the quarterbacks, like where do you think he ranks in terms of quarterbacks in the NFL?
I don't know enough about the rookie quarterbacks, so I couldn't say that. I know I've seen some people put him in kind of the top 10. I don't know if I would necessarily put him that high, just as I'm thinking off the cuff here. Um, maybe like the 10 to 12 range out of the 32 might be where I'd put him. I think some
Fair.
weeks maybe a little higher, some weeks a little lower. I don't know if I'd make him have him crack the top 10, but I could see him right in that range. Maybe I'm being
That's fair.
optimistic.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm a real Packers fan, I should say he's number one, but unfortunately, I can't put him above Mahomes or Josh Allen or even Lamar Jackson. So,
Hmm.
but I think the 10 to 12 range is probably where I'd put him.
Yeah. Above Dak Prescott, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Dak Prescott's overrated, but and that's not just because I hate the Cowboys. He's good fantasy. Hey, if you want a good quarterback for fantasy football, you draft Dak Prescott, but he's not going to win you anything.
And he's probably gonna get hurt.
And yeah,
Yeah, I think his
it happened
window
to win
might be
you for me.
over. It's interesting because like I'm just looking at a list and let's see here. This is by Cody Benjamin from CBS. I think Cody Benjamin does a pretty good job with lists. He's not always accurate. Like for example, he's got Jaden Daniels as the number one quarterback in the NFL.
No, no way,
That's too early.
no way.
That that's
He's
not.
at best five. At best five.
And here's the other thing: he put Patrick Mahomes at six and Josh Allen at five.
Who does he have as
Struggling.
number one?
Okay, okay.
Yeah, do you want me to go through this with you guys? Here, I'll just
Yes,
let's go through this together. Um,
That
just
sounds
for reference.
horrid.
this is already a horrible list.
But
Gene
yeah,
Daniels.
like Jane Daniels, Jalen Hurts. I think there's an argument you could make. I'm not saying he should be there, but I think you could make that argument for two, and it's valid. Um, Joe Burrow at three, that's hard for me. The record is just not where it needs to be
No,
number
yeah,
three.
I think you're right.
Um, Playoff Lamar, I think that comment is fair. But
Hmm.
man, Josh Allen, dude, five, like,
I think you got to put Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson as the top three.
In any one of those orders. Yeah.
Yeah, in any order, and then
Hmm.
probably I could see Jalen Hurts just because he has the record now.
And he
Uh,
has the ring now.
in the
Hmm.
ring, Joe Burrow's got to be up there, top five as
For
well,
sure.
talent.
Hmm.
Jaden Daniels, so that's your top five right there. I think Jaden Daniels has to move out of the top five.
Yeah,
You
maybe
know, that
six, seven range.
that would be like this year or last year putting Stroud as number one after his first year, and then he ends up
Right.
kind of having a mid year.
Sophomore slumps always
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
I have a feeling that Washington, they'll probably still be a playoff team, but I think they're going to take a little step back
Mhm.
because everyone's going to prepare for Jane Daniels, know what makes him tick, know how to slow him down, not necessarily stop him, but slow him down. So I definitely can, I definitely see them taking a little step back and Jane Daniels maybe struggling a little bit this year.
Mhm.
well, let me get to the part that I agree
Oh,
with.
I'm shocked.
Um,
An
I
eight,
think
okay.
that this, I think this is a good spot for Jordan Love.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
looking at the quarterbacks now,
Him and Goff, that they back to back, I agree. I don't know who would I have above the other, but I am totally cool with them being back to back like that in whichever
Mhm.
order
I
because they're
agree.
similar. Jordan Love has like you said a better ceiling, but Jared Goff is like the perfect floor player. You know what you're getting from Jared Goff.
It's like Alex Smith. I think that's kind of what he's
Yeah.
like, right?
Yeah.
He won't lose you games, but he won't necessarily win you games.
Even though he tried to lose against the Texans last year by throwing 5 picks, but they
Yeah,
still won somehow. They
yeah.
still won. I'm still
Well,
mad
I
about
mean,
that.
the one part I have a hard time with Jared Goff is that he has a good Super Bowl loss. I mean that Patriots game. I
Mhm.
mean, like
Hmm.
they were a good team. They just faced a better team and they couldn't get around them. I think
Yeah.
you could say the same thing for Brock Purdy, and I think that's why they have him in the top 10. The part I really like is
I think Purdy's too high.
I
I would
mean
say Purdy's too high as well. I think he's I think he's a product of being a 49.
Baker definitely needs to be above Purdy.
Mhm. Justin
man,
Herbert,
that's so tough though because it's like I hear you, I hear what you're saying, but Brock Purdy has 2 seasons worth of success that absolutely trump Baker Mayfield's.
No, Baker Mayfield has 2 to 3 years now worth of really good success on worse
I,
teams.
post regular season, right? Regular season. But we've
Mhm.
talked about this, and I think that I always give weight to the postseason because that's where you make the big money, and that's where Brock Purdy's been able to perform. I mean, he had no
I say
business as a rookie.
this year will really show us if he can lead this team. Okay, I'm with you. If he can lead this 49ers team with the amount of money he's made and
Mhm.
their
Mhm.
roster now that has taken a big setback, then I'm on board. But I have to see it this year.
I think the problem with that is that you see the product of what happens when he doesn't have like Christian McCaffrey on the team and the amount of
Yes.
all-stars that
Hmm.
all got hurt last year, and then the 49ers ended up being kind of a mid team. Now, that is probably a product of all of their all-stars getting hurt, but um, when you lose Christian McCaffrey and then you don't produce as well, we'll see. I think he's a good quarterback.
Hmm.
I think he's both overrated and underrated.
Hmm.
Um,
Fair.
if that makes sense, because for being an undraft or a seventh round guy or whatever he was, fifth round or I forget where he was
He
drafted,
was the
but
very last pick of the
oh,
draft. He
that's
was
what it was.
Mr. Irrelevant. Yeah.
And for him to be this good, I think is
Oh,
amazing.
it's
Um,
phenomenal.
but
Yeah.
I've had people ranking him. I've seen some rankings that have him like top five. I said there's just absolutely no way but I don't know. I maybe that's the perfect a good spot for him, but I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see. I think you're right, Andrew. Just I think this is the year that will show kind of where he's at, but he does
Yeah.
have the postseason success. So
He does. Got to give him credit where credit's
just
due.
saying,
He's the opposite of Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert has no postseason success.
he has no regular season success either, surprisingly. So
He
But
puts
like
up
that,
numbers, but that's about it.
I,
yes,
I'm I am not trying to be the guy that takes everything back to the Eagles, but this is the part that baffles me. It's fine if you don't think Jalen Hurts is a number 2 quarterback
Mhm.
on the list. Totally fair, respectable. The part I don't understand is when people are putting Jalen Hurts at like 14 and 12,
No,
like
he's not
somewhere
that
in there.
Yeah.
low. That's he's not that low.
Yeah,
Like
that's insane.
I don't understand that. Like it doesn't add up in my head. Um,
You know what, Lance? We'll do the real list in one of our next episodes.
please,
Sure.
maybe we'll bring Steven back and we'll break
Okay.
this down and
Yes.
really like
Yes.
I am a quarterback expert, obviously. So
There you go. There you go. We'll
I mean
create
you did
the
you
most accurate list in all of humanity.
sure, sure.
you did draft Aaron Rodgers in the right years for when he was amazing
I
as a
know,
quarterback.
but I
So,
also drafted Patrick Mahomes this year, and he sucked this year.
But
So,
you won.
but I won despite Patrick Mahomes. So made me sad. I'm
well,
just glad that I didn't get Travis Kelsey as well because he was also horrible this year.
yeah, it was,
I think whoever was right before me picked Travis Kelsey, so I'm glad that I didn't pick him.
well, you looked out there, man.
Apparently.
Well, actually, I think that leads to another interesting topic. So you looked at quarterback. Um, you look at this season. What do you think are like
Hmm.
realistic expectations for your team?
Yeah, so I think everybody was surprised a couple of years ago about how good the Packers were. You obviously didn't know what you had with Jordan Love, and the Packers were ridiculously young. I mean, they made the playoffs as the youngest team ever. I think their average age was something like 24 years old or 23 and a half years old or something. And they made the playoffs. And then they absolutely killed the Cowboys in the playoffs, which made it even better, right? You have a really super inexperienced team come in and beat a Cowboys team that people actually expected to do something in the playoffs that year. I think, right? I think they might have been the number one seed or something. I know they were one of the top teams that year. Um,
Yeah, I think the Niners might
They're
have been the
number
one
two.
seed,
oh, number
but they,
two. Okay.
yeah. Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
because the
they're
Packers are
number
number
two.
seven. Yeah, that's right. And so I think then you have last year, which I think was a slight disappointment. I think that a lot of people thought that the Packers were going to take the next step. But at the same time, it's also they were the second youngest team ever to make the postseason and to win a postseason game. Or no, they didn't because they played the Eagles. But so I would say this year, I think this is a big year in the sense of the team should be taking a step forward. I think realistically they should be a playoff team. Do I think they're going to win the division? I think there might be a possibility because I don't think Minnesota shouldn't have been a 14 win team last year. I think I think they got a little lucky. The year before that, the Minnesota Vikings, I think, lost all the close games where they lost by three or less points. And last year they won all those games. So could the Packers compete for the division? Certainly. I think they can certainly win the division. Do I think they will? I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't, but I think they're a playoff team as one of the wild cards.
So I wanted to pull up the schedule here.
Sure. Go ahead.
Um,
Make our predictions.
if you're willing to, Stephen,
Oh, sure.
I am
I can
ready. I
attempt.
can go through here and I can add check boxes and we can make this thing look
Well,
nice and pretty with your
make it all
thoughts.
official. Hey, we can try. I know in preparation for this, I was like, I should probably go through the schedule and actually figure out what they might do. I didn't get very far. I got distracted by other stuff. So
Well,
the
we won't make this controversial. We'll just make it straightforward and we'll just say they beat the Vikings
the
last week of the season.
okay, yeah, yeah. I thought you were going to go to the Eagles and say, well, an automatic win for the Eagles.
Yeah, well, that's not a back loss. Thanks for reminding me on that
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now you can figure out the rest of your schedule,
Yeah,
Stephen.
yeah, exactly. Uh, all right. So we have Detroit week one, right?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah, because yeah. Also, they need to
I think it's Sunday night, isn't it? Or is it?
NFL needs to go to either back to
Okay.
16 games or go to 18 games. 17 games is dumb. Uh, it's a weird number. Uh, it is an afternoon game. I think that the Packers will probably lose against the Lions in week one. I think that they will split the season series though.
Mm.
The Packers always seem to do at least, well, now that they don't have Aaron Rodgers who owns the North, uh, I think they'll split a lot of these games or the season series in the North. But I think they'll probably lose week one to the Lions. Um, let's see, Washington. I think I'm gonna ch Washington's so much better this year though than they were last year.
They did improve some things. They picked up a Larry Tunsil and they picked up Debo Samuel. So
That's
the
right,
roster did improve.
they did. But the Packers also improved as well. Um, be really interesting to see how their newest golden child, if it were Matthew Golden,
Matthew Golden.
will do.
The
I think it's
first round draft pick wide receiver since like 20 years, 30
I think
years, something
I think
crazy.
it was 20 22, 23 years. I think it was 2002 was the last time they drafted
It's
a wide receiver,
wild.
which is
Wild.
crazy.
Hmm.
Um, so we'll see. It'll be interesting to, as a side note, it'll be interesting to see which wide receivers the Packers end up keeping because there's no way they're keeping all of them. Uh,
Yeah, you guys got like a bunch of wide receiver twos and threes.
they're already, yeah, and that's the problem is I don't think there's a clear-cut number one guy. So
That's what you're
hopefully,
hoping Matthew Golden's going to be.
hopefully Golden will be that. I can't say I know a lot about him. I
Hmm.
don't tend to watch too much college football, other than BYU, and they always disappoint me every year. So, except for last year, it was amazing watching them last year. Um, I I'm going to say that the Packers will win that game. I think they will play I think it'll be a close game, but I think they will beat Washington. Uh,
I think that's respectable. One part I added as a note, I've mentioned this to
mm,
Andrew Steven, but
sure,
the Commanders got significantly older this offseason.
that is
And
true.
that could really, I could totally see a New York Jets style
Yeah,
collapse. Just too
mm,
old. So it just
yeah, that's
depends.
true. Yeah, I forgot about
He's
that.
old. He's just too old.
Jaden Daniels is just too old.
Not Jaden Daniels.
Not Jaden Daniels. Everyone else. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the Packers will win that game. Cleveland, I think the Packers are going to win that game.
Yeah. Let me help you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't need to spend too much time there.
I don't think I need to spend too much time. The Cleveland Brown is are just they're a dumpster fire of a franchise.
Let me just make a side note to the
Hmm.
universe. I am not doing that to jinx Steven. I really believe that that's a win.
No, yeah,
So
for
that is not a
sure.
jinx.
Uh, maybe they can put three quarterbacks on the field since they got five on their roster.
Right.
Unbelievable. Dallas at this is at Dallas.
That's right. At Jerry World.
You know, I think I think the Packers will win this game too. Uh, I'm very biased in saying that, but Jordan Love has also never lost at AT&T Stadium. Um, it is Packers home field. I know that the Packers haven't lost at AT&T Stadium in forever. It is actually crazy how good the Packers played at Cowboy Stadium. I think that's another win. I don't know how good Dallas is going to be this year. Uh, their bye, I think they can win the bye week. Um, unlike some of these other teams that'll probably still lose, like the Jets. Cincinnati, let's see. The thing is, they have all the offense in the world, Cincinnati, but they have absolutely
Hmm.
no defense. I don't think they have anybody
Hmm.
playing. I think it's going to be a shootout, or it could be. I mean, I think the Packers have a lot of weapons. I mean, Josh Jacobs was absolutely a phenomenal pickup, and I can only see him getting better next year. Um, is that what you have? Is the Packers winning that game, or is that you just
I thought
predicting them?
I was anticipating that coming. So I
Oh,
got a little ahead of
I don't know.
myself.
I I could see them winning the game, but I also could see the Packers losing because it's a shootout. So, but I will probably lean towards the Packers on that one. My bias will come out on that one with the Packers will beat the Bengals. I think Arizona's not stellar either. Um, but it could be a trap game. It very well could be. I'm just I don't know. Did Arizona really make any significant changes this offseason, or are they just kind of the Arizona Cardinals?
A few. They made a few changes. They got a Jalen Walker in the draft. They got Josh
Hmm.
Sweat. Um,
Hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah.
who knows? It's hard to know. It's hard to quantify at this point.
Who
I
knows?
don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the Packers win that game too. Um,
Okay.
I know I don't want to. I don't think they're going 16-1. Let me just put it out there. Um,
Well, they're for sure not going to go 16-1 because we've already got two losses on their schedule,
oh yeah,
Steven. I took care of
you
week 10 for you.
hey, this is why I do history as my degree and not math. So, 15-2 then. Pittsburgh is probably one of those games that the Packers, I'm going to say that they lose against the Steelers. Not because I'm looking to put another loss on there, but to make it seem like I'm less biased. But the Steelers always ends up being like one of those teams that ends up winning the games you don't think they will. I don't know. It's I don't know what to make of the Steelers, but they're somehow going to win, I think. Plus, they've got a really solid defense, unless TJ Watt doesn't go back.
And they
Uh,
might have Aaron Rodgers.
yeah, they'll have Aaron Rodgers. And isn't Russell Wilson on there? No. Did he? No. Where did Russell Wilson go?
Giants.
He's off
Oh,
cooking
the
in Giants
Giants.
Nation.
That's right. That's an interesting quarterback group too. If I have to have to say anything about the Giants. Yeah, I think the Steelers will win that game. Unless TJ Watt goes to the Packers. That would be great. I think he needs to come home to Wisconsin. And JJ Watt can come out of retirement too and can play edge because the Packers have no edge rushers. Carolina, I think Carolina did make a lot of, or at least some pretty good pickups, but it's still the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to say the Packers win that game too. But I mean, the Panthers, was it last year that the Panthers were absolutely terrible, and then they go play the Packers, and then Bryce Young has one of the best games of his entire career. I can't remember if that was last year or if the year before,
I
but
think that was the year before. Oh yeah, yeah. It was 2 years ago.
was it two
Panthers
years ago?
almost beat the Packers. Yeah.
Yeah, and he had like a perfect game, I think, or a perfect passer rating in that game. It was absolutely absurd. But yeah, I think the Packers will win the game. Yeah, I think the Packers always seem to play the Eagles tough, but I think they'll lose that game. I think the Eagles are just too good. Um, the Giants, I think the Packers will beat the Giants. I, I
That's
uh
a stretch.
I don't think I have to put too much thought into that. The Giants are the Giants. Although they do have a new quarterback, right? They have a Jackson Dart,
Jackson
which
Dart.
I'm assuming he won't start, right? Because Russell Wilson will start.
I honestly haven't heard what the game plan will really be. I know they're saying Russell Wilson will start, but I haven't heard what they're really going to
Hmm.
do.
It'll be interesting to see, but I think the Packers will win that game. Minnesota, I think the Packers will. Let's see.
What's interesting is the Packers have 5 out of the last 7 games all played in the North.
Yeah,
That's wild.
Oh
the NFL
wow,
schedule
yeah, I
makers
didn't
keep
think
doing
about that.
this. They-
Yeah. And in
uh,
between that, they play at Denver and home to Baltimore. The
yeah,
last 7 games are crazy.
and most
That's
yeah.
rough. And your worst team you're playing is an improved Bears team.
No, I know. Uh,
That's crazy tough right there.
so I think that's why it's okay for me to put all the front load all the wins at the beginning. I think they'll split the season series with the Vikings as well. I think they'll lose this game since we have them. Since you already put a check mark at the end, I'll say that they'll lose this game.
We can switch the check mark, Steven.
It doesn't
I only
matter.
did that as out of sarcasm.
It's okay. I think they'll split the season series. So, like I said, I think they'll beat the Lions.
Okay.
Um, but do I think they'll be swept? I mean, the Lions, I don't think they really had any major subtractions in the offseason.
Other than their coaching staff.
Other than their
That's
coaching
big though.
staff. And that's going to be huge, I think.
So wait a
I
minute,
would
because
agree.
I have that you said that the Packers are going to lose in week one. Did you mean they're
I
going to beat the?
No, I said they were going to lose. I'm wondering if they will get swept by the Lions
Oh,
this year.
okay, okay.
But I think Andrew makes a good point. I think I I think the coaching changes might be a huge difference.
Well, hey, let me just say, as an Eagles fan, let me tell you, two
You
years
you hope that we
ago,
win.
no, it made a
Beat the
difference.
Lions.
When both of our coordinators left, it made a huge difference.
Yeah.
We were a different team. We were not even close to the same.
hmm
And
And now
this
we're
is on
down to
Thanksgiving too.
this is a Thanksgiving game too. Yeah.
Hmm
But it's at Detroit.
is this the first Detroit Lions? No, no, no. The Bears Lions one last year was really good. I'm trying to think of there has not been many good Lions Thanksgiving games.
Oh, most of the Thanksgiving games end up being kind of okay at best.
Hmm.
Well, hey, I'm totally fine if the Chiefs go in and throttle the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Nothing would
I
make
would
me
be
more
okay with that
happy for
too.
Thanksgiving this year.
Even if I hate the Chiefs, I'm okay with them beating the Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Exactly. I think I think they'll lose. I don't know. I think it's at Ford Field though. I think they end up losing that game too against Detroit.
Mm.
As much as it pains me to say, I think they might get swept this year. Chicago at Lambeau. I think the Packers will win that game. Like Chicago did improve, but we'll see how much they actually improved because they've been the undisputed offseason champions for about 3 years in a row, and it didn't make any
Right.
difference.
And
So,
nothing changes.
and it's still the
Yeah.
Bears. Um,
Hmm.
do I think Caleb Williams is that guy? Possibly. And I know that they've certainly improved their offense. And I think they got some pretty good defensive players too. But I think the Packers will win that game. At Denver, I don't I don't know what Denver's offense is going to be like. Their defense is absolutely phenomenal, but I don't know what their offense is going to be like. I don't know. I think the Broncos are actually favored in that game. I think I think they'll end up losing to the Broncos. I think they'll Yeah, I think they'll lose to the Broncos. That might be a pretty close game or low scoring game,
Yeah.
depending on how good the Packers' defense is this year, because they certainly improved the defense. I think they're going to beat the Bears. I think they'll sweep the Bears
Hmm.
this year. Um, and then they lose. I think they'll lose to Baltimore, and then they'll beat Minnesota. Yeah, that looks good to me.
So it looks like you got is that a 10-7 finish?
Looks
Yeah,
like it.
I could see that. I could see them
Okay.
also. I could also see them winning one or two of those games as well.
Hmm.
Like I could see them winning one of the Lions games. I could certainly see them winning the Steelers game, but I also just had the feeling that the Steelers are going to be one of those games that is just going to absolutely suck to watch, and then something will make them win. So,
There's always one game on everybody's schedule where the team just doesn't play like the team
yep,
should.
yep,
And for my scenario on this, I had Minnesota losing at Dallas. Should they lose to Dallas? No. But one of those games that just
yeah,
happens on the schedule where, you just fall on your face. All right, let's get back up next game kind of thing.
yeah. And that's happened the last couple of years with Jordan Love's Packers. There's a couple of those games where it's just absolutely horrible to watch, but then they get
Mhm.
some game against like the Chiefs where they'll just play absolutely amazing. So
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know how it'll work. Hopefully that's not
I
what my
guess
fantasy football team is like though. It's 10 and
do you
7.
think do you think that the Packers would lose if the Steelers don't pick up a quarterback? If they still have Mason, is it Mason Rudolph, right?
Oh
That's
That's
who
yes,
who it
starts
is
in the
right
middle.
now.
oh gosh. And who do they even have as wide receivers though?
They have
Uh,
DK.
Oh, DK
that,
Metcalf. They got rid of George
that's
Pickens.
it. And
Yeah.
they also have what's his name? Um,
Didn't they
the
just
tight end,
draft a guy?
Oh, they have Fryermuth. They have
Fryermuth.
Oh yes.
Calvin Austin, who's a decent slot receiver. Not great, but decent.
See,
They
I
did draft they drafted a running back. Which running back did they draft?
oh
Oh
Was
yes.
yes,
it Caleb I think it was Caleb Johnson. He's a really good running back. But
yes.
I mean, if they have no quarterback to throw the ball, then defenses are just going to stack the box.
Oh,
And
I
what can
completely
you
forgot
do?
that that's all they had was Mason Rudolph. And I don't know how
And
much.
Skylar Thompson, former
Yeah,
filler in for the Miami Dolphins.
everybody's favorite Skylar Thompson. Everybody remembers him. Uh,
Now, I have heard that there is some steam that Aaron Rodgers to Pittsburgh might actually happen.
yeah.
That's been picked up again. It was going, then it dropped. here the past few days, it's been picking up. People are hearing some things. But even with that, I don't know how much that makes them any better.
You, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to switch that to a win for the Packers. I
I
think,
like it.
Okay.
yeah, I think 11-6. I think that sounds right for the Packers. I don't think, but I mean, that's a tough end of the season.
It is. That those last 7 games, that's rough.
Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, I forgot that the Steelers have no quarterback, but their defense is always so good.
Yeah.
So, although I don't know if it's as good anymore as it used to be. I think they're older and I don't
They still
know.
got some makers, some
They
playmakers
do
there,
have,
but
I mean, they have TJ Watt and,
and Mika, is it Mika Fitzpatrick
Mika
Fitzpatrick.
on the
Fitzpatrick.
back
That's
end?
Yeah.
right.
It's
So
a
yeah, I
Hmm.
good.
think I think 11-6
And
sounds
they
good.
drafted Derek Harmon. Sneaky draft pick. They drafted
Yes,
Derek Harmon.
You really emphasizing that six there. They are
yeah, that
definitely
was
losing
that was a
this.
little weird, wasn't it? That did not look good. Um, no, I think that's a respectable finish.
Yeah,
I think that
Yeah.
that's a
that's
fair
just a
thing to
tough
go
end of
with.
the season.
So
I
yeah,
think
I
they would
mean,
still be a wild card. I mean, the fact that last year they were a wild card and they won 11 games or 12 games last year or whatever it was, the
Hmm.
Packers shows you how much of a Packers fan I am. I can't remember what their record was last year.
I think it was 11 wins.
It was something like that. But the
yeah,
fact that they
Yeah.
were third in their division when they would have won pretty much almost every other division at 11-6,
Yup.
because
Yup.
because you had
There's a
the Vikings
15
and
win and a
Lions,
14 win team.
which is absolutely insane.
Yeah, it never happens.
Never, and so that's why I couldn't feel too bad about the 11-6 record last year because
Hmm.
they lost to the two other teams that were absolutely world beaters last year. So.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think that sounds about right. Maybe in a different order of wins and losses, but 11-6 sounds
Hmm.
about where the Packers should be, I think. If I'm
so
being
where do
realistic
you?
with it, they're obviously going to go 17 though. So
Yeah, this is
sorry,
just the if all else fails.
16-1 because obviously they're going to lose to the Eagles, right? So
Yes. Yeah. No, we are going to. No, no. I'm telling you, Stephen, we're going to get into a 4th and 1 situation on the goal line. We're going to run the tush push, get the touchdown, and Jalen and the entire team will Lambo leap into the stands.
probably there might be riots after, but that'll probably happen.
That's okay. We won't bring our cars with us. There's just a bus, so it's all good. If they destroy the
We'll,
bus,
we'll,
we'll get
we'll
another
just make
bus.
sure to take down all the lampposts and stuff. So and drive all
You
the cars
probably
away
should.
before all the Philly fans go.
You probably should. Um,
Yeah.
so if you were looking at the division, do you think that the Packers finish with like another like third team finish because of how the division falls? Do you think that they'll be a little better next year?
If the Lions are so good now, but I wonder how much of that is because of their coaching. I wonder how much of a change losing both their
Hmm.
offensive and defensive coordinators.
Both.
Um,
Yeah.
that's huge.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I thought the Packers could legitimately win the division last year too. Uh, but then you have Minnesota and Detroit do their thing. I could obviously Detroit, they were just really good. I was a little shocked at Minnesota. I think Minnesota will take a step back. So I think what will probably happen is that it'll probably be Lions number one, I think Packers two, Vikings three, and then Bears four is my guess. But I think you could probably interchange Minnesota and Green Bay is probably my guess. I think the Lions probably win the division. I mean, optimistic me says the Packers will win the division. They need to go back to being the Kings of the North. It makes me sad that Minnesota's so good. But it's hard to say because you have JJ McCarthy now is going to be the starter in Minnesota. Should be Rodgers. He has to he has to end the Favre cycle. Uh, Green Bay Jets, Green Bay, New York, and then Minnesota, and then throw a terrible interception in the playoffs. But I just don't I just don't see the Bears being that good to compete with the other three at this point. So I think that's what I would say. Interchanging Minnesota and Green Bay, Detroit wins the division
That's fair.
is my guess.
It's gonna be a tough division.
It really is.
I think
Yeah.
the winner of the division is probably gonna win 12 games. Not no
Really,
15, 14.
really okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think the division's gonna beat up on each other, and the NFC North has a tough schedule. We play the NFC East and the AFC North.
That's
That's
true.
hard. That's hard. So there's not gonna be a 14 win team out of the North this year.
Yeah. And yeah. And the AFC North, right? So
Yeah. Baltimore,
yeah,
Cincinnati.
that's the year is that yeah, you get two really tough divisions. And
Hmm.
it's amazing the comeback that the NFC East has made since they were so terrible like 3 or 4 years ago when
Dude, don't remind me about 2020. That was one of the worst years of my
that was
life.
awful.
Hmm.
Just when I thought it
Who
couldn't
won the
get
division
worse.
that year?
The Commanders.
Oh, was it? At
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
that's a
seven and
crazy
nine, right?
stat.
Or 7 or 8 and 8 or 7 and 9 or
Oh
something.
no, they I think they were 7-9. Let's see
It was
here.
awful. That
And
was
it's a
awful.
crazy stat that there's not been a back-to-back NFC East division winner
That
in
is
like
nuts.
forever. It's wild.
And Philadelphia obviously won this year, the division. But I could see Minnesota, I could see Washington pushing for it. I don't think they'll win. I think Philadelphia will win that division. Giants are
Hmm.
they're not going anywhere. They're the Giants and the Cowboys are the Cowboys. I mean, I don't think they improved themselves any this year, and so I think Philadelphia wins the
Hmm.
division. But
Yeah.
We'll see
Minnesota
what
and
happens.
Washington, though, man,
They are a great team.
they're
I
the hot
mean,
new team.
the funny part was is when they hired Dan Quinn, there was a lot of hate for the hire.
Yeah. Mhm.
But I thought it was uh, yeah, it was a very smart hire.
Mhm.
I thought he was a good
Hmm.
coach. I was getting Dan Campbell and Dan Quinn mixed up. I'm like, wait a minute, did I say the right? No,
Two
no, I
Dans,
said the right
two
one.
different Dans.
I said the right one. But I thought it was a great hire. One
Hmm.
part I was going to mention, I just have to mention this since we brought up the 2020 season. So you guys might not remember this, but the last week of the year, the Eagles played the Commanders on Sunday Night Football, and it was to determine who would win the division. And that was the game where Doug Peterson took out Jalen Hurts, and then the Commanders ended up winning. Um,
Oh, I remember that
and
game.
anyway, the Pink Gate was like a big discussion afterwards. I got some of the nastiest texts from people about how dare the Eagles ruin the Giants' chances of being able to be the NFC East champs. And all I said back was a
Oh
team that
yeah,
is
that
six
was
and ten,
Baltimore. That's
a
right.
team that is 6-10 does not deserve my sympathy.
That's right. I remember that. I remember that now because it was oh yeah, where the
Could you
Giants had a
imagine?
chance if there was like a tie and
Yeah,
some other craziness. Yeah, I remember that. That's right.
yeah. If yeah, I just don't think if you're a 6-10 record, you don't deserve to have a home playoff
No.
game. I'm sorry. No.
And that's what I know I've heard the calls for people to change the playoff formatting because of that. Like it should just be the record based off your record rather than division wins. But
Yeah.
I think the system they have is pretty good. Although I mean I'm personally not a huge fan of the 7 seeds. I think it should go back to the way it was.
Six
I'm
teams.
yeah, 6 teams, 2 buys. Um, but I also think they should go back to 16 games. So there's that too. I'm a
Hmm.
traditionalist, quote unquote. So I don't I think I mean they're never going to change it back. There's no way.
Oh yeah, they're just gonna add more games. It's gonna go to 18 games probably within the next two,
And
three
18
years.
is fine, but obviously they need to add a buy, but
Yeah, there'll be another bye
there's
for
no way.
sure.
But uh yeah, I don't know. It's okay, I guess. If the Packers can make the playoffs as a 17 is fine. They won the Super Bowl last time as a six. So
And I would say 11 wins probably gets them as a 5 or 6. I don't think that's a 7 seed.
no, no.
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't think
I
we're
think
going to
it's
see
better.
what happened
Yeah,
last year with
that was
all
crazy
the
last
Yeah.
amount
year.
of yeah, that was
Especially
insane.
because
The amount of teams
the NFC was so good last year, right? It
Hmm.
so
was really
good.
top heavy, right? You like the top
It
half
was.
teams were really good
Hmm.
and the bottom half were really bad.
Hmm.
I think there's going to be a little more parity this year. I think you're right. Who
Yeah.
knows? Who knows? Maybe
I mean,
watch as the NFC North ends up being like the NFC East in 2020. It's just everybody sucks. I mean, I don't think so, and I hope it doesn't, but
hmm
that's what the NFC West is going to be this year. I think it's just going to be
yes.
who knows what's going to happen with that division.
Yeah, that's very true. Even though I will say this one little asterisk, I have seen the 49ers schedule. They have a cakewalk of a
Oh, do
schedule.
they? Oh,
They could back their way into a playoff seed, and I wouldn't be surprised just because how easy their schedule is.
hmm.
That's the unfortunate thing. They don't deserve to be a playoff team from the
Yeah.
way the roster looks like, but they have a good coach, good regular season coach, and they have a
Yes.
really, really easy schedule. So
Mhm.
I don't know. We're gonna do our all our divisional breakdowns in a later episode.
Okay.
I don't know. I might have to have the 49ers make the playoffs somehow just because of that easy schedule. I'll have to look at it.
Them are the Rams, I think, out of that division.
Yeah, the Rams are the best team for sure.
Mhm. Which
Yeah.
is surprising after how much they tanked over the last couple of.
Yeah. They've had quite the turnaround. Well, I mean, when you
Mhm.
get um, oh man, why am I not remembering his name right now? The wide receiver they got from BYU.
Oh,
Puka.
Puka Nacua.
Yeah, Puka Nacua. I mean, that changed their trajectory of their team. That one guy.
hmm
It changed
I
my fantasy
mean,
football team too.
quit rubbing it in, Steven. Enough.
Hey, you told me I could.
I know.
I
I
have the
know.
receipts.
You sure do, man. Well, hey, props to you. I mean, you pulled it out. You broke my heart in the playoffs. Then you beat up on Andrew.
And then I broke Andrew's
hmm
heart too.
You
hmm
sure did.
hmm
It's okay. Like I said, I'll
So,
probably end up like a mid-team this year. I mean, it
that's
Well,
happens.
perfect. This,
you'll have the last pick in the first round.
True. That's true. And the first pick in the second round. So never had
hmm
that happen before. I don't know what to do with my
Back to
life.
back picks.
It's too much
you'll figure
pressure.
it out.
Just
You'll
auto
figure it
pick.
out.
Seems to work out.
Draft Aaron Rodgers, you know.
Oh no, not anymore. Man, he should have retired after that Achilles injury. He's
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that would have been good for him. But now he's gonna go to the Steelers and do something.
Make
I don't
$40
know
million
what, but
dollars. Yep.
yeah. Then he can do whatever retreats he wants to.
Yep. His
Maybe
darkness retreats. Loved
some dark
those. That
cave in the
was,
Amazon is whatever.
hmm
yeah,
Who knows?
such an interesting guy. Well, Stephen, we want to be sensitive to your time. I know we've been doing this for a little while. Any last thoughts that you wanted to share with us about your beloved Packers and looking at the season next year?
He, it's going to be a great season. I think no matter what happens, I think this will be a good measuring stick of I think the potential that the Packers can have. I think their offense can be really, really good. I mean, if Josh Jacobs continues what he did last year, which was an absolutely phenomenal pickup. As much as I loved Aaron Jones, I think it was okay to let him go and pick up Josh Jacobs. I mean, I wish we had both. There was a part of me in that offseason when they were on the same team together that was like, wow, this running game is going to be absolutely amazing. Um, and then Aaron Jones left and to the Vikings of all teams, and it made me sad. But I think if Josh Jacobs continues the way it is and the Packers wide receivers become more consistent, I think the Packers offense will be really good next year. And if the defense takes a step forward, I think they will have a really good ceiling if all the things click, but they are still a pretty young team, so who knows? I think they'll have a good year. I think they'll win the Super Bowl. It's our year. No, shit. If they won the Super Bowl, fantastic. But I no, I think it's going to be a great year. It's going to be a great division. It's going to be a tough go, and um, I guess we'll see. Go Pack, go! If
I
only I
like
had a
it.
cheese head to pull out, but I don't. I'm not a true Packers fan.
It's a cream cheese head,
Oh yeah,
Stephen. That's
yeah,
what we
yeah, yeah.
wear here. Cream cheese heads.
Of course,
So,
and or the grated cheese. I've seen that too. When I was in
yeah.
when I was going to school, one of my roommates was a Baltimore Ravens fan, so he got himself a cheese head and he spray painted it purple. It, it was awful. But
It's creative. It's a good
it,
way to
it is.
represent your team.
It is. It's because they were playing the Packers. And he's like, I had to go get a cheese head. It's classic. So, but go Pack, go.
Yeah. Well, cool. Hey, thanks, Stephen. We need to do another episode, dig into the quarterback rankings. One thing we'll have to dig into, you're a BYU fan, the Jake Retzlaff fallout.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing
That's
stuff about that, but
it,
interesting to see.
it's still in the waiting game, so we'll have to
Mhm.
see what happens. But yeah, it could be some bad news for BYU this year. So
It's true.
we might have to start looking elsewhere. But that'll be something
We'll
we
see.
should
Of
cover another day. But yeah, man, thanks for
course,
taking time.
no
Can't wait to
problem.
blast all your predictions
Absolutely.
out there so that way when you're wrong, we can point at
Okay.
all the games you got wrong.
As long as we beat the Cowboys, I think I'll be a happy camper this year. So that's all that
Yeah.
matters. So for sure. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks so much, man.
Yes.
We appreciate it. And
Yeah, thank
thank you
you.
to everyone that listens. Appreciate it. Please rate, subscribe, listen to us.
Hmm.
Andrew, any other final thoughts you wanted to share?
No, just excited for the season, and I'm excited for the Eagles to run the tush push every single play in week 10. Even if they lose, even if the Eagles lose, they'll take the L. Just run the tush push every single play. I told Lance that what needs to happen is when they show Nick Sirianni's call sheet, it just needs to be a picture of the
It
tush
just says
push.
tush push.
Yeah. That's all he runs the whole
I'd be
game.
okay with that.
I would
Have you
love it. I
seen
don't even care if the Eagles lose by 30. I would just love to watch that.
That would be funny. I would.
have you guys seen that the Eagles put a shirt out that says push on with Jalen Hurts doing the push tush
Hmm.
push?
Oh, really? That's
Against the
funny.
Packers.
Oh, was it
I've
that picture?
I've never wanted to impulse buy something so bad, but that might end up in my wardrobe.
Something interesting, though, that I just thought about with the vote. So the vote was two votes short of passing
Mhm.
to ban it. The vote was 22 to 10, the same score of the Eagles Packers game. I mean, you
Yeah,
you can't write this stuff.
I've seen that one a lot on the internet. It made me sad.
Well, Stephen, you don't have to take the L on this one alone. This there was a bigger puppet involved in this than the
Hmm.
Packers.
I know.
So
Hmm.
I
we will
actually
we
didn't know that. Now that but did the NFL push for it?
oh yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah,
There's
the head
enough.
honcho.
I'm just surprised the
Yeah,
Packers of all teams are the ones that they got to do it.
Andrew and I eventually are going to do another podcast, and let me tell you, uh, his team's going to be in the refiner's fire for a little bit for choosing to support this ban.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I don't
just
know why. I'm okay with it being in the game. I think it's fine.
Hmm.
But maybe I'm in the minority of Packers fans. I don't know.
my guess is I think people don't care about it as much as the NFL does.
I don't think so
That's my
either.
Hmm.
guess.
I
I
mean,
think they're going to be
Yep.
like,
it's not the
oh,
first time that
okay.
people have overreacted to a play, like when with the whole Tom Brady inflated football scandal, quote unquote. I thought that was the stupidest thing.
Hmm.
But the funniest thing about all
Yeah.
that is that they ended up running the ball after inflating the ball, I guess, and they ended up running for like 300 yards that game. So I mean, it doesn't matter if it's inflated or deflated; they still ran all over the Colts. So, but
Yeah.
Well,
whatever.
everyone's a
It's
good fan.
football.
Everyone's a fan of a good conspiracy theory. It's just the
Hmm.
inevitability.
Exactly.
So,
Conspiracy theories are always fun.
yeah. Yeah.
We could
Well, hey,
do a ranking of all the best conspiracies in the NFL.
I like this. This sounds like a very promising
Yes.
topic.
Yes.
Next time you come on, maybe we should all share our top three
We'll do that.
conspiracies.
Sure. Sounds good.
Cool. Well, hey, thanks so much, Steven. Have a good rest of your
Sure.
night, man.
Thank you
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.